afternoon. Now it's just 4 days to the end of the month of July. Thank you for choosing TV47. My name is Grace Josephine. Now we start off on a story that is based on matters education. Now parents have decried tough times as transport operators, uniform and bookshops recorded a boom in their businesses. Meanwhile, the Teacher Service Commission today met education stakeholders, and top on the agenda being the teachers' preparedness for the next school calendar.
Encouraging teachers on my staff to do the same, and I'm happy many are. We'll have a few. I want to call upon my colleagues to encourage all teachers to be able to go for vaccination. Challenges of financing of schools. As we prepare to reopen, this is an area that is still very fluid, still not very understood. We are aware that the Ministry of Education has given out capitation, and it has stated that more capitation is coming. But we are not clear here, and I'm sure the Director will be able to make it more clear, whether the capitation that the Minister has talked about is what was released just before we closed, or we are expecting capitation as Form 1s coming. This is still not very clear. The issue of fees payment, the research has shown very clearly that fees payment is a challenge. And here, the chairman of parents is here. And I want to tell this nation that principals and parents are not at war. Chair, Parents Association, principals and teachers by extension are your members. Because we too have.
Moving on, Madera Member of Parliament Rigathi Gachagua has been charged with 3 counts, among them conspiracy to commit an offence of corruption and defraud the county government of nearly 12 million shillings, fraudulent acquisition of public property and money laundering. Gachagua was represented in court by 10 lawyers, with lawyer Kyoko Kilukumi as the lead counsel. Kilukumi has condemned his arrest, saying the accused should have been presented in court on the day of his arrest. The magistrate is set to deliver the ruling on his bail terms. Let's cross over there to the Milimani Law Courts, where our reporter Mwangi Maina is on standby and listening.
That was important.
Thank you.
It's a very good. I think saying in 30 minutes. That's good.
Yeah.
Some other people tell 3 people.
Yeah.
Some other persons would have said let's meet at 3 people.
No. I think that's the amount that they normally do. Yeah. But I didn't want to suggest an amount.
No.
I wanted like a free paid.
To punish.
So that is a story that we will definitely be following up for you. The magistrate is, of course, expected to deliver the ruling anytime from now. Now moving on, Lugari Member of Parliament Ayub Savula now wants Deputy President William Ruto to resign ahead of the 2022 elections. Speaking in Shinyalu, Kakamega County, the lawmaker wondered why Ruto is not ready to resign when he has openly declared that he is no longer in Jubilee and had moved to the United Democratic Alliance Party, UDA.
Uhuru anafukuza Ruto huko. Wamekosana. Ndoa imevunjika Jubilee. Hiyo ndio shida.
Sisi hatuna shida na Ruto, lakini ndoa yao na Uhuru imevunjika. That is a broken family. Sasa hiyo huwezi kusukuma mbele. Jamii imevunjika, unasukuma mbele kweli president? Na unataka kuunite Kenya? Wakirudiana tunaweza fikiria hiyo maneno. Lakini saa hii ni ngumu. And I'm telling you my in-laws. Mimi ni mtoto wa pastor. I want to tell you the truth. Ukweli kabisa. Ruto hatafikia kiti ya urais ama 2022 election kama ni deputy president, hapana. Sheria inasema a president and a deputy were elected as a pair on Jubilee ticket. Ruto sahi yuko UDA. Kufikia election time, the Election Act inasema lazima belong to a political party kabla ya uchaguzi. Ruto hatakuwa kwa Jubilee, atahama aende chama ingine, hiyo chama ya UDA. Na akiingia chama ingine, he no longer belongs to Jubilee as a member. He must resign as a deputy president. Those are facts. So Ruto will not be a deputy president saa ya uchaguzi.
Still on a little bit of politics, the Mount Kenya and Rift Valley communities have been urged to support Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka in 2022. Led by Machakos Senator Agnes Kavindu, the leaders said Musyoka was loyal to both Moi and Kibaki and payback time is now. Now, according to Kavindu, Kalonzo is the man to beat in the next general elections.
Ambaye imetushangaza kwa siku ya leo hapa,
muangalie kura za Senator Kavindu vile zilipigwa Machakos. Zilipigwa kwa wingi. It was a landslide. Na Ukambani Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka kura zake zitakuwa landslide. Kule kwengine ndio tutaenda kuomba kura. Na pia ninajua watatupatia. Kwa sababu kama Central tumesimama na nyinyi sana. Kumbukeni wakati wa Kibaki. Kibaki yangeweza kutawala kama si Mheshimiwa Kalonzo alimpatia MPs wake ili akatoshelesha ile namba ambao anatakana kuwa nayo kama president. Na tumesimama pia na Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta. Kwa hivyo ni wakati wenu Central murudishe mkono. Ni wakati wa Kalenjini warudishe mkono. Kumbukeni Kalonzo alisimama na nyinyi miaka 24 wakati Moi alikuwa president. Kalonzo alikuwa chini yake na hakumusaliti. Kwa hivyo tunaomba makabila yale mengine yote, County 47 of Kenya, mtushike mkono, Kalonzo aingie.
Political leaders and human rights groups in Mombasa are calling on the government to subsidize school fees as schools reopen for first term. The leaders have also called for the reopening of the economy so as to assist parents who are already struggling due to the harsh effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our very own Mariam Wacharo has been following this and now joins us live from Mombasa. Mariam, how do you do?
Studio. Nani ako studio?
July is the new January in the improved calendar by Professor George Magoha, who is the Education Cabinet Secretary. We have many pupils returning or resuming to school this week from today, tomorrow, all through. So that is a story that we will definitely be following up for you as our reporter, of course, prepares on the other end. Now, moving on, police in Nandi have arrested a boda operator who was transporting BHANG. It is alleged the boda operator was involved in a grisly road accident after having a head-on collision.
Kitu ambaye imetushangaza kwa siku ya leo hapa ni accident yenye imefanyika hapa kwa stage hapa. Ilikuwa imeendesha na mtu sasa mwenye atujui sasa mwana boda ama si boda. Kwa sababu wana boda hapa kwa hii stage yetu tunawajua. Lakini huyo sasa hatumjui si wa hii stage alikuwa anabeba bangi. Ambapo tumeprove ni bangi.
Tulimgonga mgonjwa mwenye alikuwa anatoka hospitalini kupelekwa nyumbani. Aliumizwa mpaka akasimika tena akarudishwa hospitali. Kabisa kama kuna vitu inabebwa hapa na hatujui hapa tutakufa, ni hatari kabisa.
So ningeomba serikali yetu tafadhali mkaingilia kati, maana hii bangi imeharibu watoto wetu sana. Ningependa serikali ichukue ushukani wake na ikasia kabisa sheria, maana bangi imeharibu watoto wengi, hata watoto ya shule.
So wakati kijana amegonga mama, raia walitupigia simu, tukakimbia hapo mara moja, na tulipata kijana akiwa chini na kuna misiwa hapo, lakini hapo mama akakimbizwa hospitali hapa Nandi. Sisi kupakua ile misigo, tulipata kwamba kijana alikuwa na pangi ambayo haikuwa imetayarishwa, na hiyo pangi saa hii tumepima iko kilo 19. Huyu kijana ambaye anaitwa Thomas Chacha ni kijana ambaye ako na miaka 21 na ni mkulia. Tumejaribu kumhoji, yeye anasema kwamba pao ni sehemu za Migori. Kwa hivyo inaonekana kwamba hii pangi ilikuwa inasafirishwa.
16 minutes past the hour, and that report brings us to our fast breather. Don't go too far away, as we have a lot more lined up for you.
Why crocodile inaweza tokea juu? Hiyo sijakula hata unataka nikufe kabla ni. I don't like it. I don't. Miss Kai na hipo ikitokelezea ivuruche simu yangu. No, ni sawa. Those who know me will tell you I'm not a lover of large volumes of water.
But for you, we rove the different parts of the country and beyond just to make sure that we bring you the experience. We educate you, we entertain you, and we inform you.
That it's not political and it can do something.
As we sail the boat of Morning Cafe to enlighten you, entertain you, and inform you every Monday to Friday, only on TV 47.
Woo. Construction can be quite a task, but how do you move from finding your piece of land, sourcing the right materials, getting the right labor force to put up your building? Or better yet, how do you source for a building that's already built?
Just a small size of land can suit just a big maisonette because you are going high.
How do you ensure you get the right finishes to bring out the aesthetic value of your property and make it not only look good, but also feel good?
The buyers in this area are the buyers who are able to pay cash.
Well, we have it right here on The Realtor on TV 47, where we demystify building right here in Kenya and analyze the property industry for you to take advantage when acquiring your next piece of property.
Every February, we hear men joking about going to a men's conference on Valentine's Day. We laugh about it, the lucky ones end up having a decent Valentine's Day, and we move on. But what we do not know is that men actually do meet up. Men do sit down and have conversations about things that affect their day-to-day life.
Let me ask, does money make the man?
Give them the gifts, shower them with everything you want to shower them with, but keep your money to yourself.
I, for one, have always been curious as to what goes on in a man's mind, specifically an alpha male's mind.
Adam, yule kwa Biblia anasema ni mtu wa kwanza duniani. Wewe unadhani kama angekuwa hana yale matunda, hana ile garden yake pale ya kukaa, angekuwa tu ni mdomo tu anampata hapo?
Welcome back. Now, leaders from the Wiper Democratic Party are currently meeting to decide on their NASA coalition status. The party's National Executive Committee is currently holding a meeting to decide on whether Wiper will pull out of NASA to pave the way for a new alliance. Wiper has joined Ford Kenya, KANU and the ANC to form the One Kenya Alliance. Let us cross over to Ngong Road in Nairobi, where the Wiper Party is holding its meeting.
Well, good afternoon, Grace. As you've rightly put it, we are currently at the Wiper Party headquarters here in Karen, where in the next 45 minutes or so, the National Executive Council of the Wiper Party will convene here to discuss the fate of the Wiper movement in the National Super Alliance Coalition, that is NASA, which has since disintegrated. Of course, the Moses Wetangula's Ford Kenya joining ANC's Musalia Musalia Mudavadi as well as KANU Chairman Gideon Moi to form the One Kenya Alliance. And so as of yesterday, according to Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua, the party will of course be leaving NASA and join OKA in what seems to be preparing for 2022 general elections in August next year. And so the main bone of contention here has been on how to share the coalition funds released by the Registrar of Political Parties. And of course, that money is also shared according to representation in both houses of parliament, as well as the number of registrations in the parties. And of course, according to the records, NASA has 126 members of parliament, and out of these, ODM has taken the huge chunk as in terms of representation in both houses. That is, ODM has 73 members of parliament, Wiper has 23, ANC has 14, and of course Ford Kenya with 13, and of course the Chama cha Maendeleo CCM that belongs to, of course, Isaac Ruto had 2, which has since, of course, left, was the first party to leave the NASA coalition, and of course Chama cha Uzalendo 1, having 1 member of parliament. And so just to give you, or rather paint a picture of what these figures mean, let me just give you the figures for the past couple of years from 2017-2018 financial year. That is, the Registrar of Political Parties released 371.19 million shillings, and of course your guess is as good as mine. ODM took 102.25 million shillings, and of course in the financial year 2018-2019, the Registrar of Political Parties as well released 671.19 million shillings, and of course ODM taking 202 million, of course 0.99 million shillings. And of course in the financial year that followed, 2019-2020, the Registrar of Political Parties as well released 871.19 million shillings, with ODM taking the lion's share, in this case of course the whole money, 363 million shillings. And of course in the past financial year of 2020-2021, ODM took 240.49 million shillings, and therefore the other coalition allies, that is Ford Kenya, ANC as well as Wiper Party, have been of course boycotting NASA, alleging that ODM has defrauded them, the coalition funds in this particular case. Now I've confirmed that this meeting was supposed to take place early in the morning at around 9 or thereabout, and it has since been moved to about 2 later on in the afternoon at 2 p.m. And so this particular meeting, if my camera person Tim Musiok can just pan to my right, this particular meeting will be taking place in this tent that has been adorned with Wiper Party colors, and that particular meeting will involve the party leadership, including Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, as well as the parliamentary group within the Wiper. And I'm also informed, Grace, that this meeting will involve will also take place virtually, to make sure that some leaders go through this entire process virtually. And so we'll be camping here to make sure that our viewers do not miss anything on this particular story that continues to break right here from the Wiper Party headquarters. Back to you, Grace.
Well, thank you, Musa Salah, for that in-depth. We also remember that Wiper was formed in 2007, so sometime in August. So it's safe to say it's about 14 years old. What a determinant day it is. That is a story we will definitely be following up for you. Now, moving on, political leaders and human rights groups in Mombasa are calling on the government to subsidize school fees as schools reopen for first term. The leaders have also called for the reopening of the economy so as to assist parents who are already struggling due to the harsh effects brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our very own Mariam Wacharo has been following this and now joins us live from Mombasa County. Mariam, what is happening?
Well, thank you very much, Grace Josephine. It's just what you have actually mentioned. Parents here in Mombasa County, together with human rights organization Haki Africa, and as well as Mombasa Senator Muhammad Faki and Vita Member of Parliament Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir, among other organizations and stakeholders as well, are calling on the government to actually subsidize school fees so that the government and parents as well can afford to take back their children to school. They're saying that since the COVID-19 pandemic, businesses have come to fail. Most of the parents do not have jobs at the moment as we speak, and they're really struggling to bring back their children to school. So they have mentioned that they'd like for the government to subsidize school fees. They'd also like for the government to allow children and students and pupils as well to go back to school and attend schools and not be chased back home in case parents have not completed the school fees or in case the students do not have books. They've also wanted the government to come in and help children get fed in school because parents are complaining that it is hard to actually afford meals for their children. But without further ado, Grace Josephine, let's have a listen in to what Khalid Hussein of Haki Africa, Vita Member of Parliament Abdul Somad Sharif Nasir, as well as the Mombasa Senator Muhammad Faki had to say on this issue.
Our job is to empower the people, the population. Our job is to ensure that every single person has access to that basic education, has access to quality life, and a time has come. We need to just simply call a spade and not a big spoon. A time has come. We now need to accept that COVID is here to stay. It is going to be here. It is not something that is going to go away. But at the same time, there's some things that supersede the lessons that we've been able to learn from COVID. Whatever it is that we already educated, every single person knows what needs to be done, personal hygiene and everything else. One, we need to consider, even if it means now cutting down public spending.
Well, that is some of the things that were discussed earlier on, Grace Josephine, and they also wanted the government to open the economy as well so that, businesses can come back on their feet and that, money can start flowing into their pockets so that parents can afford to take back children to their schools. They also wanted, we spoke with some of the parents earlier on, Grace, and they said that they could not afford school uniform for their children, and they wanted the government to allow children to go back to their classes even without uniform, to give the parents time to get the uniforms later. But I'll definitely bring you more updates on that story as we do a spot check in Mombasa County on how students have reported back to school and more from the parents. Back to you, Josephine.
Well, thank you, Mariam. I think we'll be waiting to possibly hear from parents. What is your experience as you take back your kids to school? You can always share that on our website, that is www.tv47.co.ke. Now, on to some sports in action. Nzoia SHUJAA head coach Ibrahim Shikandar has blamed lack on concentration in the closing stages of the game for the draw against AFC Leopards on Saturday. Nzoia, who trailed 1-0 at halftime, staged a comeback in the second half and looked destined for a 2-1 win until into stoppage time when substitute Dan Sunguti struck the equalizer to win a point for Ingwe.
Kijana huyo ukanda na penalty kule ikapigwa vizuri kabisa na kijana Simiyu yule alifunga bao la kwanza.
FC Leopards walikuwa wazuri kipindi cha kwanza, lakini kipindi cha pili kimekuwa chetu. So mimi ni congratulate vijana wangu kwa mchezo mzuri. Lack of concentration and marking imetuadhiri game ya leo, lakini ni hivyo, tunashukuru kwa mchezo na tunashukuru kwa alama moja, lakini kwa kusema ukweli point 3 zilikuwa zetu hizi.
In the 2020 Olympics opener, the Kenya Rugby Sevens team SHUJAA lost 19-14 to USA in the opening pool C match of the Tokyo